we're going to redo this because, because I screwed up. I forgot to hit the record button again. Okay, so now I'm coming back. Hello everybody, welcome to Team Drew's Basement, the WOSDEC Plague Throne update. I had to record this because I wouldn't say they're my fans, but some of the people that follow the project are in Australia. And they're probably either just waking up or not awake yet. So I want to record it so I can post it to YouTube after, and people can scope it out. And I'm too lazy to edit it so they can get the full unedited video so they miss no information. So Streamline's bust, you should be able to just hit record. I can just hit record, but it looks stupid if I'm just cutting in mid-conversation. So I did the start screen again, blah, 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 blah. Anyway. So welcome back to Team Drew's Basement. We're going to update the Plague Throne tonight and a whole bunch of other things I want to discuss. Things already in motion for 2026, stuff like that. And once again, we are sponsored tonight by Dracoya.com and Chimera Paints. Dracoya, well, I know her because I know the owner now, but her website currently offers Chimera Paints, brushes, and miniatures. If you go on there and use code ONLYDREWS10, that's right, ONLYDREWS10 for 10% off your order. I have become a tremendous fan of the paints, specifically because they're single pigment paints, which is really different. Just wrong in money. I am not wrong in money. I do this because I believe in her and the brand. I really don't get paid, so there goes that theory. And for those of you who just have been catching up and seeing my statuses, we are also officially sponsored by WizardWorks Gaming. WizardWorksGaming.com, code TDB10 for 10% off there. Now, why is WizardWorks Gaming? Well, you know what? We'll start with that. Why is WizardWorks Gaming so important? First of all, they're really cool people. They do really cool products. They have a lot of nerd accessories. If you do D&D, TTRPG stuff, they do some really cool stuff. If you see me wear the owl bear shirt with the owl bear sticking out of the pocket, I've posted that a few times just because I love that shirt. For the record, that owl bear goes all the way into the pocket. It's a full-bodied owl bear. So I think that's really cool and adorable. But they make a lot of accessories for gaming. So they have like condition markers, flying platforms, stuff like that. Watch it, Chris. You distracted me. But basically, they offer a lot of cool accessories, rugs, dice trays, dice holders, dice boxes, all sorts of cool stuff. So the reason why that's really important, besides them being really cool and having really cool stuff, and I've been using their stuff since I've been on Instagram with this hobby stuff. I got introduced to them through a former player in my group, and I've been using their stuff ever since I discovered them. They're great. They're fantastic. I don't have my dice box over here from them anymore, but they make custom TDB ones for me, which is really cool. But the reason why WizardWorks has their own website, or that's the only. So you go to WizardWorksGaming.com and it takes you to their Etsy store. But the reason I bring that up is because I'm currently working with the owner / creator / CEO. I don't know what you call him, but he is WizardWorks Gaming. They are going to be making the the player dashboards for Plague Throne WOSDEC that people could buy as an accessory. I'm working with him right now to work out all the details. We're going to do some test prints soon. But there's going to be two options. What up, Dracoya? You just missed the whole speech promoting your paints and miniatures and brushes and everything. I did it so well. I did it twice. Once recorded for the YouTube post and once on the stream. So you missed out. You got to be on time. Although technically you are early. I just got impatient and wanted to start going. So back to where we were. And I'm going to speak more on Dracoya and Chimera Paints soon, actually, because it goes in line with what I'm going to talk about WizardWorks Gaming. So WizardWorks Gaming is going to make the player dashboards for it. It looks like we're going to be able to put it at a price point that's going to be good for everybody. We're going to have two versions. The first version is going to be the mass-produced MDF. It's going to be two 1/8-inch thick boards sandwiched together. He was talking something about being able to do different colors for the front. I don't know. It's something we're gonna have to explore. I don't fully understand what's doing with that. But you're gonna be able to purchase through my website that accessory. It's gonna be where it holds the character sheet on the left-hand side, player dashboard in the middle where you put your main card. You can put the 4 equipments around it with the different status tokens, health, potion tokens. And then on the right is going to be all the questing and items you can bring. So the first version is going to be the MDF style with the 2/8 inch making a 1/4 inch thick. Not super fancy, but I have a few things like that for Warhammer, for like keeping track of the score and turns and everything and command points. Yeah, no, exactly, Chris. So you can have a blue player, green player, red player, whatever you want. There is going to be a premium version of it available as well, which is going to be done with like a nice walnut. That'll be stained and sealed and everything. That'll probably be a little bit thicker. It's going to have a nice finish to it. It's going to be more of a premier model. It will be more expensive. It's still going to be very affordable. But like, for instance, I'm just going to throw it. These are not real numbers. These are numbers I'm throwing off at the top of my head. So if you could get the MDF ones for, let's just say, $10 a piece, the fancy ones might be $30 a piece. Still affordable. If you want to do a really nice one for yourself and get the MDF ones for your players, you could do that. However you want to work it. But it looks like it is going to happen. It is going to be done at an affordable rate. I'm very excited about it. I didn't know if it was actually going to be able to happen at a price range people would want to do it. So to have one that's a little bit elevated and one that's kind of more mass-produced, giving people options of what they want to do, makes me very excited. Because it's something me and my players use every session, and I can tell you the organization that provides, even if it wasn't for the WOSDEC rules expansion, it still keeps the core game so organized with the cards and everything and the tokens, like for status effects, health, potions, wrath tokens. It keeps it all so well organized that it's really, really, before you even add the WOSDEC accessory slots to it, it's really, really good and worthwhile. And I'm not just saying that because I'm not offering it for just SD, I'm offering it WOSDEC style, but it helps us keep this game organized. And like once you start having like 5 or 6 players in the game, it's really, really helpful because cards aren't flying everywhere, nothing's sliding, everything's nice and contained and organized. So that makes me very happy that can actually happen, and you all are going to be able to get your hands on that. Should you choose, it's an optional accessory. You don't need it to play the game. You don't need it to play my expansion. But I do find that at the price point, it's worth it for just organization. So WizardWorks Gaming and I are working together on that, which is going to lead into Long Island Tabletop of 2026. I've been talking to the head organizers of Long Island Tabletop. They're going to review a few more things, but there's a few big plans in motion with that. One is I'm talking to the IP owners of Super Dungeon to be allowed to run almost like a Pathfinder Adventures League or Pathfinder Society thing, but it's going to be for WOSDEC / the Plague Throne. So, what the heck? Thanks for the subscription, Renee on LI. Why were you not subscribed before? You don't love me. Anyway, so at Long Island Tabletop 2026, we are going to premiere that league. In the same vein as that, Long Island Tabletop is going to be the home of the WOSDEC Adventures League. Do you have a scene where you're on the big screen while you're just talking? I don't know if I do. I know I'm small, but you don't want to see me anyway. Don't worry about it. I'm ugly as is. I'm what do you call it? I'm like a what is it? Like a Monet painting. I look better the further away I am. Anyway, so Long Island Tabletop 2026 is going. So Long Island Tabletop in general, my goal for the rest of the time that is in existence is to be there every year. I'm going to touch briefly on something because I know some of you are aware of it. This year I had a mixed experience there, and the person who I'm friends with, who was one of the head organizers, Courtney, took some time to really talk to me one-on-one there. Apparently, people were getting very intimidated because if you've ever been to Long Island Tabletop, which I know Chris has, I go very big every year because I want people to have a great experience, because it's my hometown convention. I'm friends with a bunch of the volunteers and organizers. You know, I go big for them. I go big for me. And that's just how I do convention games. Like, I just go big. Like, I bring miniatures. I bring giveaways. I bring, this year, the Weather Dragon came out, which was super cool. And we set up a premiere gaming table. I had a 3D cathedral. I printed out Diablo 2 minis and ran Diablo 2 on the tabletop, which was super fun. And this year I got a little bit of static because apparently I was going too big, too hard for people. So I was very upset, and I wound up talking to Courtney the night of setup, and she done do what she did. She's always a great ear and a good shoulder, and she and I had a nice little heart-to-heart talk, and it was really, really nice. Absolutely phenomenal. As a friend, I love her. She's always been good to me, even when we started playing games. So the long story behind this is, after she and I talked, I am obviously locked into Long on the Tabletop as long as it's in existence. So Dracoya, that was kind of the thing. Oh yeah, John, I forgot you were here. I'm sorry. John has seen how I go at these conventions and how big I go and how, like, I don't know, I really go at it. Exactly, it's not even a competition, but so I'm going to be there every year as long as it's in existence and I can physically make it. You know, you never know. Like, for instance, my sister's getting married in August. If that was in April, I wouldn't be able to go, because I'm officiating, things like that. But yeah, so what's going to happen there is it's going to become the home or the key location for the Super Dungeon Adventure League or WOSDEC Heroes League. I still don't... Let's put it this way. I have an official name for it. I'm not releasing it yet until everything gets stamped and thumbs up by the people who own the IP of Super Dungeon. Because, again, I'm not one to step on toes and piss people off, and they have been nothing but kind to me. So I don't want to ruin that relationship by taking liberties and saying things before things are locked in. But there is a name for it. There is a storyline behind it as to why why these events will be happening, and my goal is to bring it to multiple conventions. If it becomes popular enough, or eventually have people at their hometown conventions be able to run it, and maybe get some cool exclusive stuff from me for running it at their conventions. So that's going to be guaranteed at Long Island Tabletop every year. That my goal is to run a minimum of 2 sessions, one each day. Depending on the demand, we'll do more. Would that Adventure League operate outside of cons too? So, maybe. I'm still... It's like cart before the horse stuff. You know what, Camerai? That's a good question. So for those who can't see it, Chris just asked, do we need to bring our own minis? Burnt Hustle asked, would that Adventure League operate outside of cons too? So the first answer, Burnt Hustle, his question is, right now, it's set for conventions only, but I am thinking about doing events outside. So for instance, there's a meadery by us called WA Meadworks that they might host us for a night, in which case I would say, we'll do an Adventure League night there. Anyone who wants to come out and play. But the whole point of it would be you have these dedicated characters that you bring to conventions or public events that you level up with friends and groups. And but the conventions will be the ones that give the unique rewards for attending the event. I think if we just did some events outside of it, I don't think I would do exclusive rewards unless we did a season where at the end of the season, if you played X many games, you get alt art cards or something like that. You do not, so you don't have to bring your own minis. I would say if you don't want to, especially for the first one, I'll have a bunch on hand. I'll have the entire Plague Throne line painted and ready for people to play if they want to pick one of those up. But the whole point of this is you're going to have your own guild charter and character sheets for the characters that you want to bring to this thing. And you're going to be able to paint them and bring them to every session wherever you go. So do you have to bring your own minis? It is recommended. I will have minis available for those who are just starting out or have never heard of it before and want to get involved. But the whole point of this is for you to get your own minis, paint them, how you want to paint them up. If you want to do some modifications, do a really cool base, whatever, you bring that to each event with your registered character sheet. You play in the adventure, you get to do the cool adventure, you take home the adventure, because it's going to be a narrative dungeon, and I'm going to have a little book that outlines the whole thing, and you get to level up your character and get exclusive rewards for playing at the convention. So we should all have our hero collection. I don't know what that means, Chris, but sure. So yeah, so it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to, and that's going to roll into in Dracoya, if you're still here, into the Dracoya Minis sponsorship. So everything's in the works, and I have mentioned this to her, so we're going to talk about some things about it. I'm not going to go fully into detail unless she tells me otherwise. But nutshell is the goal. So this is the goal. Nothing is set in stone yet because, as far as I know, 2026 still isn't 100% confirmed of exact date. Like it's going to happen. It's just, I don't have confirmed dates. We don't know when Adepticon's going to fall, so we're working that out now. But the goal is to basically have Team Drew's Basement Row, as is what I'm calling it in my head. It's not that at all. Please don't think it's that or an ego thing. At Long Island Tabletop, where one end cap is going to be the Weathered Dragon. Next to him is going to be Not So Miniatures. Next to him in the center is going to be Team Drew's Basement with the Plague Throne WOSDEC, and hopefully my Old School Essentials book will be done by that time as well. Next to me will be Chimera Paints, and next to them on the other end cap would be WizardWorks Gaming. So you can run down this whole row, and everyone is like working together. Like we all complement each other with products of what we do. Where you have the gaming table, miniatures for D&D, my miniatures, Chimera Paints, and WizardWorks for all your dice and accessory needs all in one shot. And just down a whole row, so you can talk to anybody. It'll be fun. But the goal is to offer a special edition, limited edition, I don't know what you call it, convention special paint collection. There's no official term for it yet. But essentially, what Dracoya and I have been discussing, and again, I'm saying all this potentially because I don't want to lock anything in yet, is we're going to do a collection of 6 paints in a special, as a special collection for the Plague Throne / WOSDEC, with a limited edition card with the miniature. So if you get the paint set, it comes with the mini, and it's going to come with the special limited edition foil card. And for Chris, I'm also going to include the card as a matte finish as well, so in case you don't like foil cards, you can still use the card, because the goal is to do alt artwork on it as well. So we'll have the alternate artwork for whatever character I choose, and we're going to offer both foil and matte, because Camera hates foil, and it's sometimes, and the other thing of that is it allows you to use it and keep the foil card for your collection, and just has like a cool special thing. So again, I don't want to commit Dracoya and myself to anything beyond what we've discussed, but that seems to be the plan. Obviously we'll work out pricing and everything as we get closer to the date of next April. It's still early and we're just in discussions of it, but the goal is for her and I to team up and give you guys some really cool paints. So I basically have the entire paint line here. I would say 95% of it, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, I've already got 6 paints in mind that I would love to put in that box, and the mini I'd love to put with it. But I did send Dracoya the catalog of characters for her to choose from. If there's one in particular that she really, really likes, I'm going to leave it up to her ultimately, and we'll see how it goes. But yes, no, we're definitely finalizing details soon. Is there an egg hunt next year? No, there is no egg hunt. Sorry. Actually, I think there is. We don't do it, but I'm pretty sure there is an egg hunt. We're not putting the spiders in the box, Dracoya. I'm talking hero minis. But some classes, that's another thing we're looking at for Long Island Tabletop. I'm talking to the organizers, where for a paint and take in classes, I would supply chibi miniatures from my line. Dracoya would supply the paints, and you could basically paint up your mini and take it home. So that's another way to get a miniature from the line. We could make a couple WOSDEC eggs. So they do some kind of adventure egg hunt thing. I don't know what it is. I don't remember the name of the people that run it, but it's a thing there that they do every year. It's called like the Adventurers Guild or something. And I'll be including some tutorials. Excellent. See? So the goal, me and Dracoya have a goal to really up the painting and miniature side of Long Island Tabletop, I think is kind of what we've discussed and agreed upon at this point. So that's a big thing going in with the WOSDEC. Another thing that I will have at my booth at WOSDEC, because I will have a booth as well as running games all weekend, is I'm going to have printed copies of the rulebook. You can see the cover right here in front of you. This is the front cover and back cover, obviously with the spine, formatted for printing. Well, I'm going to have this available there that you can buy a physical copy of the rules instead of just having free PDF if you want. It's a completely optional thing to own. I've been every year and I didn't even know that they had a scavenger hunt happening. Yeah, dude, you got to look into it. I don't know how it works. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not sure. But yeah, the scavenger hunt. So what we did, a little side tangent, for our scavenger hunt, one of the things that you had to do when I had a booth there, was you had to go find my father and take a selfie with him and show us a selfie to get the thing. And it was so hysterical because all these people were taking pictures with my dad, and we never told my dad why. And it was so funny because I think it was an Asian couple came back first, and they start laughing, and they're like, we think we found your dad. My dad happened to be wearing a WOSDEC shirt at the time, which was great. But they showed me this picture. The two of them were smiling like this, and just my dad staring into the camera, lost and befuddled. And it was so the two guys in the booth with me were Pat and Adam, or as you might know them as Toons and Obor, the hunter and the necromancer. We were in tears for a solid 15 minutes, could not get ourselves together. My dad didn't figure it out till the end of the con, and he's like, you guys suck. We were cracking up. Anyway, so they do that there. They have that thing, so we'll work that out. But so WizardWorks Gaming I covered, Dracoya I covered, and I think there was something else I wanted to cover. Let me check my own story, because I'm pretty sure I tagged a third person and said, we'll talk about this. And I have no idea what the fuck I was talking about. Oh, language, sorry. Bear with me for 1 second. My goodness, I can't stop burping tonight. I apologize. No, Long on Tabletop was the third one I tagged. Okay. So that's Long on Tabletop and everything in a nutshell. So, again, the goal is to have a minimum of one session on Saturday, one session on Sunday of the Adventure League. If there is enough demand for it, I would probably wind up doing 2 sessions Saturday, 1 session Sunday. Right now, I think one of each day is ideal, because I know some people come to play in my RPGs, and last year I sold out of all but one game within 45 minutes, and that last game just had one seat open until like a couple days after. So I sell out really quick for my RPGs, and I would hate to abandon that there. Also because I have an Old School Essentials book I'm working on that puts my 28-year home into an adventure trilogy that you can purchase and play in my world. So obviously I'd want to play that there too. But here we go. Champions, blah 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 blah. Hold on, I gotta figure out how to banhammer this again. Hold on. I know there's a way to do it, and I will frickin' do it. There it is. How do I do this? Block. Wait. Report. Haha. Believe us. Spam. There it is. Next. Spam. Next. Spamming fake ads. Submit report. Block this user. Closed. Done. So they're done. They have been reported. Gmail. We've received your support. Thank you. Oh, we received your report. Derp. So I got completely distracted. Forgot what I was saying. Oh, man. It's tough getting old. That was really fun to learn. There's way too many steps. Running games, thank you. So one of the cool things is the Weather Dragon will be returning to Long on Tabletop. So number of seats, I will have 6 seats at my table this year. Because I don't want to do more than that, especially with the Adventurers League. So I think 6 adventurers is the best way to do it. the way I plan on running it or working it is I might actually do a role-playing game in the morning on Saturday, do the Adventure League Saturday afternoon, and then do another RPG Saturday night or another Adventure League Saturday night. So you can register at the booth in the morning. I could do 10. I don't want to do 10 because I don't have 18 hours. The games go pretty quick, even if I go up to that big if I did a Mega Dungeon. But one of the big things is the Weather Dragon is returning. I will be running on his Premier Gaming table. So if you were at Long Island Tabletop last year, you played at that table. He's coming back next year. We're going to set up on that table again. And I'm going to do a whole 3D map for it. Make a whole special story for it. You can take home the adventure. It's gonna be a really fun time. I found that I have a passion and love for building terrain and boards. So I'm definitely going to do that. So if you like my RPGs, this is just like a tabletop hack and slash roguelike RPG version of my RPGs. So it'll be like a little narrative dungeon. We play through, we defeat it. You guys get a bunch of prizes. I hug everybody and say thank you for playing. I love you all. You all go home. And we all had a great time. But I am going to do a complete 3D board for it. I have a plan for it in my head. And it's going to be multi-leveled if I can do it properly. It's going to be crazy, but again, it's currently in my head. The current setting for it is going to be the Mistborn Ziggurat. So basically what I'm going to do is at this point the rules will be in full effect. The second raid in the game is the Mistborn Ziggurat. I'm going to do a preamble to that, where you're going to run through the Mistborn temples to get to the entrance of the Ziggurat and set it up. So I need to point you towards this other game's terrain. Can't remember the name right now. I think I know what you're talking about. I've seen it shared, and I actually think I follow who you're talking about. And I actually think I have their 3D terrain printable, if that's what you're talking about. What? Hey, Borks. Thanks. Thanks for the follow. That's cool. Did that show up anywhere? Oh, it did. Wow, that showed up in a terrible spot. Where's the alert box? We're going to put that there. We're going to put that all the way up there. Let's test it. What happens? There we go. Now you can see it. All right. So, it does go away. So again, if you guys can get to Long Island Tabletop next year in April, dates are to be confirmed, I think, because they couldn't get to the usual weekend. I think they had to do it like the second or third weekend. I'm not sure. Definitely come down. I'm going to have exclusive prizes for doing the league. I'm going to have a bunch of cool stuff for sale at the booth. WizardWorks Gaming is going to have some of the premier trays for the players at the booth. I may even talk him into doing a third tier. That might be like a $50, $75 one. That will be like the luxury Mercedes-Benz of player dashboards. But that's something to talk about once we get the regular ones finalized and done. So that's for Long Island Tabletop next year. Make it down if you can. Again, we're going to have a limited paint set with a limited edition card for the mini that we're going to put in the box with alternate artwork. We're going to have Weather Dragon table there showing off his tables while you play on it. WizardWorks game with all that. Chimera paints. It's going to be a really good time. And for that, so one of the things is over on the Discord server for Super Dungeon Explorer, where I pretty much run my WOSDEC information base out of for people who want to know. There's been a bunch of new people, a bunch of people saying, hey, like, I heard about Drew's rule set. I want to see what's going on with it. So we're going to kick into that now. So if anyone's really bored and wants to leave, you can. If not, stick around because I'm going to do a lot of sneak peeks and previews here. Risebreakers Gambit by Adler Watts Games. Do me a favor, Chris. Message me that on Instagram or something, or Discord, so I can look into it. I think I know of that, but I'm not positive. So what you're looking at right here, as I said before, is going to be the cover and back of the book with the spine. Again, I'll have physical copies of this at Long Island Tabletop that you can purchase when this rule set releases for free. I'm also going to put out a thing that if anyone wants to get it physically printed, they can all piggyback off me and I'll send it out with their miniature orders. If you guys want minis or if you just want the book, we can do that, etc., etc. It's going to be a free PDF. That's how it's meant to be done. I'm doing this because I'm getting it done anyway, and if anyone wants to piggyback off it and get theirs printed in a physical form, we can do that. What the? Thank you, Chris. You just pinged my computer. So, on the back, it's just the stupid blurb that, is supposed to draw you in, even though most of you who are getting this rule set know exactly what you're getting into. Again, this is a fan-created expansion for Super Dungeon. I've been given the right to do it. It's basically an open gaming license. They've really have stepped aside and said, hey, do your thing, man. Like, have fun with it. They wanted to go over things as I go to make sure I'm not really, greatly changing their IP or anything. And I'm really not. I'm just expanding on it, and that's the biggest thing about it that I want to stress, is it's still Super Dungeon at its core. It just allows you to level your characters, and expands and can increase difficulty of the dungeons and add more players, do endgame raids. Like, it just builds on the game. It doesn't replace anything, so to speak. I do have some home rules that I throw in the beginning of the book that are optional. One is, unless it's a dedicated pet to a character, don't bring pets. Just to keep the game pace moving. Last man standing rule is my favorite, where basically if you run out of princess coins, the game isn't over. You go to the last hero has fallen, and that has come into play more than I'd like to admit. I am not a pet hater, Chris. I just like to keep the game moving, because when you get to the raids and you bring 10 characters and you bring 10 pets, it's 20 models on the board before you get to the enemies. It's just too much, and leveling all those little pets it's too much. So if you have a dedicated pet like Obor or the Freyan, I think it's the Freyan Hunter or Freyan Beastmaster, those you obviously still bring, because they have abilities that directly affect the pet, and pet directly affects the hero. What's that rule called? I don't know. I don't really have one. No pets allowed? I have no idea. I don't have a name for it. But so one of the sneak peeks I want to show you guys is you know what? Let me see if I can pull up something here. Yeah, let's do this one. So, is it going to open? Yeah, okay, it's opening. So, one of the things about the game is crafting. So I want to share some of that here. I know y'all are going to screenshot and steal shit. So I included that little snippet on the bottom. Dracoya, you can play when you come through. I thought you had a cool name for it. I do. I'm sure I have a name for it. I just don't want to pull up that page right now. I'm lazy. So you guys might recognize some of these as existing items in the game, like the rusty gauntlets, the potion bandolier, fizzy beverage, sturdy cloak. All this stuff all these things are existing items in the game for the older versions. So one of the things that you do in WOSDEC, you use the most current loot, most current treasure deck, which is from the Devil's Island. But what do you do with those cards that you had from the previous editions? Instead of having to discard them or just leave them on a shelf, now you can craft those items. And this is an example from those pages. Again, you're going to see some rough white lines like this on the outside. The final PDF is not going to look like that. The final print is not going to look like that. That is outside the bleed line and cut line. That's just where it is. It's just how I work. Just let it rock. So like on this stuff, so Sturdy Cloak is a card that exists. It gives you... So converting over to recipes in a book as opposed to cards, I had to reformat everything. So now instead of it just being a recipe card or a recipe in the book and you have the card from a previous deck, I'm putting it all in the book so it's all self-contained. So now it tells you what slot it goes in. Emerald slot obviously being the green slot for your cards. It tells you what it does. It gives you +1 automatic armor, success for stars, and it tells you what you need in terms of the recipe. Now this is not going to mean much to everybody right now because you don't have the full rule book. But primers are used. Ooh, typo, fix that. I need another exclamation point. That's not what I mean, a comma. There we go. I'm going to actually save that real quick just because, oops. So, green primer, 2 silk rolls, 1 leather scrap, and 2 crystal thread. And it requires your hero to be level 2 to craft this and equip it. So, easy peasy description. everything that you see on that recipe list is purchasable in the town store. I wanted to make crafting be a cool thing, a little fun thing extra so you can get use out of your old cards. Give your heroes a little boost as you go into these dungeons and everything. Especially get to higher levels, bringing in some equipment with you, bringing in a vendor item or item that you craft. Does give you a little bit of help. Like, for instance, at level 3, I think it is, all enemies get +1 additional heart. I'm sorry, all non-minion enemies get +1 heart. So that includes the dungeon boss, the mini-bosses, and all the elite gangs. So going in with something like this, just to give you a little bit of a one-up as you start, is really good. Again, I've designed it to keep it simple, where everything on that recipe list is purchasable. You will find that primers and I forget what else, and essence, which we'll get into later, are also quest rewards for random quests. You can specifically quest for essence to help farm materials in the late game. So it's as Chris said, it makes sense. It's a very straightforward way of doing things. And there is a way, believe it or not, that I organize these recipes and rank them by level. You'll notice that you start with blue, which is the weakest dice in the game, technically speaking. And as you get higher in level requirements, it goes to the red dice, which is the next strongest. And everything in between that is typically like a 1 white automatic star, which is kind of... depends how you want to argue that. I believe that the 1 white automatic star is better than a blue roll, but I don't think it's as good as the risk of rolling the red die to try and get 3 stars. So, what about the brown dice? There is no brown dice. There is an orange dice, though, which we'll get to. So this is low-level crafting. This is like level 2, and even up here, these are level 1 with no requirements. So we'll shut that down, and we'll go to some end game. The poop dice was not my idea. That was Drakey's idea. I had nothing to do with poop dice. I had debated doing brown to change it up because that's when the game was going to be sold with physical dice, but now we can't because not enough people backed it. And with the tariffs, forget it. Getting it in now, who knows what it would cost. So here's some end game recipes that I know are going to find their way to the forums, Chris. I've shared 1 or 2 of these. This is 4 of them. These are from the Weapon Master specific forging. So one of the things that I've done is with crafting is, you notice that those last ones are blue. Those are equivalent of blue loot. There's some with red borders. Those are equivalent to treasures. There is a set of purple, which is the high end. Purple treasure, red treasures really, that give you like green dice or multiple red dice, things like that. I was planning on waiting until I can buy a copy of the list 3 months. And then these are really what are considered endgame crafting and specialty. They have the green border. For those who are not familiar with my obsession with Diablo, so blue is blue, red is yellow in there. Purple is the equivalent of like purple items in World of Warcraft, and green is the equivalent of like super rare, like I don't know how I want to describe. I'm failing at describing my thought process in this, but basically, green is the best because if you play Diablo 2, the set items that are like really rare are green, and that's kind of where I went with this. I gave it like that green border. These are end game items that take obviously a lot more to make. So I know I shared at least the spear. I'll show the Defender Shard right now. So this is obviously an original item to the game, specifically from the Plague Throne. Silly little quote down the bottom because it's a super epic rare weapon. This is something I wanted to share with everybody and really explain. So you'll notice on the card Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. This has caused some confusion. And I've tried to explain it with text, and some people still seem to be confused by it, so I'm going to run through this entire card real quick and let you know what's going on. So, left side is the artwork of the weapon. Bottom is a little quote about the weapon, like where it might be from. So like this one is, "The cold whispered thy name, withering its frozen walls. We shall defend." So basically this is just like a cool crystalline ice shard sword. That's epic. It's meant to be used by like a tank because it's also going to boost armor as well as your strength. So if you have a tanky character that you want to become a weaponsmith, this is really the weapon you're going to want for them, right? So the Defender's Shard, citrine slot, which means it's the yellow slot, which if memory serves is the right-hand slot, Chris? Correct me if I'm wrong. No, the left-hand slot. Yep, right is emerald, left is citrine. Anyway, so tier 1, you get +1 red strength, +1 green armor. So it's obviously armor heavy because the green dice is better. Tier 2, you can see +2 red strength, +1 orange armor. So that orange dice was originally going to exist in my printing, but because of things that were happening, that can't happen now. And to get them printed separately is, oh my god. Custom dice are insanely expensive. Insanely expensive. So if this thing takes off and I can do like a proper relaunch of it to do like card decks, the book, and dice, we'll look at that at that time. But there will be a dice conversion chart, so you can just use standard D6s for this. And then tier 3 is 1 green strength and 1 purple armor. It has a 2 action ability defensive strike. If the strike succeeds, the hero that performed this attack gains a cumulative 1 star on all defense rolls until its next activation. So you're either going to get +1 automatically for doing this, or if you have an additional action point, you can do it twice and get 2. Custom dice is expensive, yes. So these recipes, they're costly. 20 yellow primer, 15 sacks of ore, 5 of each crystal type. Which again is in the book explains how you get crystals. Basically at every dungeon you're disenchanting, you're getting quest rewards that give you crystals and stuff. Essence of iron, essence of ice. So it requires a level 10 hero. It's a chibi bound item, which I wonder, bear with me. If I have that page pulled up, I'll read it. I think I don't have it pulled up. Though I could have sworn I had it up before. Let's see. You know what? Let's go to open. I know how to find it. Let's see. Illustrator files. There we go. Crafting. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to open this. Is this it? No, it's not because I'm a dummy. Bear with me. I apologize. We'll get back to that screen in a second. Is this it? Perfecto. I am actually going to update this image over here to just something a little more generic. This is just a place filler for key points that explain what everything is. Because yes, it's going to teach you how to read a recipe card. Why was I here? Oh no, it happened again. I've gotten old. Chris, help! What was I talking about? How many crystals do you get for working the corner of your own downtime? Oh. Yeah, but what was the thing? Alright, we're going to go back here and we'll talk about that in a second. Oh, Chibi Bound! There it is. I knew I'd find it. Son of a bee. I think I was right the first time. Thank you, Borks. Love you. Is it in here? Essence Quest, how to gain essence. Yes. Look at all these spoilers. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, that didn't help. File open. Should have been in questing. I guess not. Hey, Heroes Prologue. Jeppies, apparently. Is this a thing? Nope. Oh boy. It's somewhere. Oh, I'm going to have to find where I put it because I know I put it somewhere. Look, more spoilers. What the hell is this? What the? Delete. What the hell happened there? Alright, I'll figure that out in a minute. But, look, more spoilers. More spoilers. It's a development search. Listen, I don't remember where I put it, but Chibi Bound is explained earlier in the book, where basically whoever crafts this, it's bound to them, and they're the only ones that can equip it and take it from dungeon to dungeon. Also, Chibi Bound items allow you to take it from dungeon to dungeon without having to disenchant it, which is a big thing. And it requires a weaponsmith, so you have to be a weaponsmith to craft this. That has to be your specialization of crafting. So what it says in the top right, this may replace the citrine slot of an endgame raid gear. It will be tier 1 unless all other slots have a matching tier. So if all other slots are tier 2, then this item becomes tier 2. If all other slots are tier 3, then this item becomes tier 3. I'll get to that in a second. This item's unique action is available at all tiers, so that defensive strike you can use at any time in regards to the weapon's power. Only one item from a raid tier set may be replaced in this manner for it to count towards the tier set bonus. I'll get to that in a second. That's all part of that whole first part. So quest to unlock the recipe. So in order to unlock this recipe, a hero with the weaponsmith crafting specialty may activate this quest. So you're going to find that there's a bunch of different questing categories you can unlock. You have standard, you have group quests, you have essence questing, you have crafting quests. So basically, you keep track of this across multiple dungeons, obviously, where in this one you have to slay Tetsudo Tower once, Horfang once, suffer 20 wounds, and heal 20 wounds. Does not need to be done in a single dungeon. Okay? Does not need to be done in a single dungeon. This might take you 2 dungeons. This might take you 10 dungeons. It depends how you play your character. Tetsudo, yeah. Listen, I might have misspelled it. So be advised, these are the working files. When this is all done, I'm printing out all the pages, and I'm going to work with an editor for spelling corrections. I got to check it for continuity, because reformatting this has fried my brain a little bit, and I don't trust myself to get it right in the first shot. Yeah, you know what, while I'm here. Done. Save. Thank you, Chris. That will save me something that I have to highlight and fix later. So, the citrine slot situation and the raid tier situation. So, each raid has its own set of gear that you can get tokens for. Let me put this back in the middle of the screen. No, bro. I appreciate it. Like I said, huge disclaimer right now. These are working files. Spelling is going to be checked, punctuation, format, everything is going to be checked before I put this into the full PDF download and print download. So if something looks like, oh my god, he misspelled that, it's because I haven't done the full check yet. I'm literally putting together the whole book, printing it all out at a Staples, where I can look at each page one by one and go over it with a fine-tooth comb, mark up everything that I think needs to be fixed, and then give it to my editor who's going to look it over and mark up everything he thinks needs to be fixed. Then I go back, I fix everything, send him the PDF, he gives it one final look, and boom, we're good to go. So, again, disclaimer, this is work in progress stuff. For work in progress stuff, I'm pretty happy with it. The Celestial underwear needs to come correct. Exactly. So, each raid has its own tier level of gear. So, Elemental Temple of Joragumo is tier 1. Mistborn Ziggurat is tier 2. Plague Throne is tier 3. So as you go through those raids and those raid wings, you will get tokens that drop from bosses in the wings and bosses of the entire raid that you can trade in town to get tiered gear. So such as, without revealing too much because I haven't put those cards into the book yet, there are tier sets. You know what? Let me see if I have one I can share. That would be pretty cool, actually. SDE. And for those wondering, I actually do have a very organized folder system here. There's just a lot to it, so I apologize. Is this it? Nope. Is this it? Perfect. So, and let me drop it in here so I can show it. Whoa! Look out. I did not expect that to be so big. So this is not the actual card that is going to be in the book. It's this is just a little something I was experimenting with when I was playing with it to get it set up for the card printing. So this is a tier 2 tanking set, and they are all color coded. This is the shield from the tanking set, taken right off of Drethalion himself. There is a final form to it and a lesser form of it. It gives you a special ability. Only the Emerald slot is going to have the burst ability, I'm calling it, and you have to have the entire set to do the burst ability. So, as you can see in this one, it has its own kind of unique ability. Again, this is all going to be refined as I put it all in. Now that, it's not going directly to print, I'm actually taking the time to just, this is pretty much what it's going to do. I'm going to make sure it's just worded better. I think maybe a little more clear as we go. Oh, Chris, dude, my file system is insane. It's like 92 folders, but I can find anything. It just might take me 17 clicks to get there. So this is like one item from the slot, right? So if you have three others, so let's say you have the ruby slot, the sapphire slot, and the emerald slot, right? Now you go down to the defender shard. This goes in the citrine slot and will take the place of one of those. So now this will count as a full tier set, and you can use the special ability of the burst dice. And if we went with that card specifically that I was just previewing here, this would be a tier 2. So you would use the defender shard if everything else was the matching tier 2 and get this stat line instead of the tier 1. So it's, on paper, might look a little confusing at first, but when you play and you start understanding how the rules work, specifically for the raids and the raid armor and the tier armor, this right here is that's how that's going to break down. Oh, pardon me for 1 second. Real life is texting. Sorry. Real life issues, specifically involving cookies. So yes, I apologize. So that's where the defender shard is going to come in. So if you have this in the citrine, tier 2 in the top, tier 2 in the bottom, tier 2 in the right, this counts as a tier 2 item, and now you get the ability to do the burst. So if it was this burst, we'll just say, when making a defense roll, if a burst symbol is rolled, gain 3 crystal tokens. You may immediately, and for each successful defense roll after, spend a crystal token to cause 1 damage to the attacker. You may never have more than 3 crystal tokens for the purposes of this ability at any given time, and any unused tokens to discard at the end of the console phase. So that means that every time you're making a defense roll, they will continually refill anytime you roll a burst, and you can keep sacrificing them to do damage, things like that to your attacker. It's a pretty potent ability, but again, this is for tier 2 raids, so at this point you've already been in the Mizmorn Ziggurat. You've already been in the Elemental Temple Jorgumo, and you're assumed to be going into the Plague Throne, which is the hardest raid of the game. I gotta stop looking at my microphone because that's not where the camera is. Each web. So the way I'm designing it, they're backlash token. Exactly, Chris. Exactly. But that's at tier 2. At tier 3, it does something else. And I'll just leave it at that. Mysteries abound. So what I'm trying to do in each group is to really have it where end game items can basically cater to any primary stat for your character. So for instance, you have this spear, which is dex heavy. It's meant really for a ranged character, but you can use it as a dex close combat weapon if you really want to. But you're going to throw this with a 3 action point ability. Seems really powerful. It is really powerful, but in the grand scheme of things, it's actually not that powerful, because at this point, at level 10, you're going to be going into raids, and raids are brutal. They have a lot of hit points. They do a lot of damage. So, improved critical, massive damage, and hook shot. It's a 3-point ability. It's basically you're throwing it in hopes to do 3 damage in 1 shot, is what it boils down to. 4 if you're lucky. And it applies all the stats effects. So this is really a boss killer, and bosses do have resistances, like they're immune to Bane, immune to Poison, immune to Hex, in the raid. So it looks really powerful on paper, and if you were putting this into a standard dungeon with no leveling to it, yeah, this would be overpowered as anything. But in the level 10 dungeon runs, in the level 10 raids, this thing is strong for sure, but it's not overpowered. I have play tested it numerous times. Again, that's another. This one goes in the emerald slot. We have, this one is a caster's sword that also gives bonuses to strength. So this has a poison burst ability. This is a decapitator. This is the one that's really for your strength DPS characters, like your Hearthsworn fighter and stuff like that. Cleaving Strike is basically he's sweeping up and sending like a bladed firebolt down. It does damage. It knocks people down, freezes people. You know, it's really, these are really potent weapons that require, obviously, slay 10 dungeon bosses, roll 20 criticals, roll 100 stars, land the killing blow on 15 mini bosses. Like, these are going to require time to quest and unlock. Okay. Anything. Yay, I'm getting cookies. So again, this all is going to look really overpowered on paper. I highly encourage you to play the raids before you judge them. You want to come to New York, dude? Come have cookies with us. Where do I want to go? So, you know, I'm going to cover questing a little bit to show off this part of the book. This one killed my creativity. This chart. No, go back. There you go. So this guy is very popular with everybody in the community. These little crazy totem guys. This is actually an item, not an enemy, that drops off the Troll King. So basically, when you're in town, you can earn random quests. That'll give you quest rewards that I'll show in a second. So I mean, this page really just breaks down the reference of like some of the keywords. So for instance, slay/destroy. You do not have to land the final wound on the enemy to earn credit for this. So as long as you're in a dungeon and your character is alive, you get credit every. You know, like for instance, if you have to slay 20 elites, if an elite is killed while you're in the dungeon and your character's up, you get credit for your quest towards that. It's like the group affects it. Successfully clear, it means you have to successfully complete the dungeon, not just go in and die and get credit for doing a dungeon. Automatic kill stealing. Not really kill stealing, because anyone who has a quest like that, it's all kind of shared. So you have some basic ones here, like slay 10 elites, gives you 5 experience, 5 primers. Most cases you're going to do that in a dungeon. 20 minions, most likely you're going to do that in one single dungeon. Destroy 3 spawning points. If you're not doing that in one dungeon, you didn't win anyway. Slay 10 mini bosses, has much more experience, much more crystals. Automatic kill sharing, yes, that's the perfect way to put it, Chris. You know, and the way this works is you roll 2d6, 1d6 for the first number, 1d6 for the second number. Then you just go down this list and you just take whatever it is. So, for instance, land the final wound on 2 mini bosses. This is kind of a catch-22. So my characters, I tend to play more tanky characters with my group because, like, for instance, my dad loves to be like a ranged DPSer. My friend Adam loves to be a caster. Pat loves to be, you know, either a caster or a hunter or something like that. So more times than not, I'm not landing final wounds on mini bosses. I'm just sitting there soaking up threat and damage. So that's kind of a tough one for me to get. Slay 3 dungeon bosses is obviously going to take you at least 3 dungeons to do. So that it's 15 experience, 10 crystals, 5 primers. And the way that it works is, I explain it over here too, is that if you're rewarded with 5 crystals or 10 primers or whatever, right? Those are of your color choosing, unless it specifically states a color. So the currency in the game is, you know what, I'll open that up too. Why not? Let's just do all the spoilers tonight. Because why not? Guild system part 2. Okay, well, yeah, we'll rock with this one because I kind of opened this one before. So you can see right here on the guild charter sheet, you have the crystals. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Look at them. They're red, green, blue, and yellow, coordinating with the slots of the equipment. So at the end of each dungeon, you're going to break them down, and you keep track of it here. So if you get, you know, whatever many crystals from this item, it goes in the red one. If you get that, you know, and you keep going, and that's how you keep track of it. So you're going to be able to fill all this in, keep track of your crystals here to buy things in town, to level up things. Level your guild. Shaking your moneymaker is not on that chart. It is not on that chart, but maybe by special request, we'll make an event where you have to shake your groove thing. This one is successfully clear a mega dungeon without dying. Add a hero of your choosing to your guild roster. That is a very hard thing to do, because that means that means that you cannot die in that dungeon. And mega dungeons are 5-tile dungeons running on a 4-tile dungeon monster chart. It's very difficult. It's doable. We've done it. It's just, whew, that is brutal. So as I was saying, so like me as a mainly a tanking character, land the final wound on a dungeon boss right here, number 65, right? Not going to happen for me most likely. So what I can do is I can spend an extra town state point and trade it out for another one. What about a pacifist run? No way, no thank you. I'm trying to keep this simple, dude. Keep it simple, keep people playing. And, pacifist run is tough. Like the more simple ones, like the arcade plot. Defeat an arcade plot, 5 crystals, boom, done. Simple, easy reward, low reward. Things that are going to take time is higher reward, higher experience. So we should encourage diplomacy. No, we shouldn't. It's a game where you want to beat up the monsters. Let's go, Chris. Get it together, boy. So that's how questing works for the random quest. Again, I have a little breakdown over here, and I think I'm going to add another section here just to add some things to it. Add some more text to explain this even a little further. So that's that. And now, the part that everyone really kind of wants to know about is, so as a group, you can decide to go on a group quest, which starts a narrative dungeon. I recommend going through them one at a time, in at least once in order. And to be honest, the first time you play, you should really run it in order, because chapters 1 through 6, or sub-story 1 through 6 with each of their chapters, tells the full story of Celeste, the Lady of Plagues, her return, her ascension, leading up to the raid of the Elemental Temple of Joragumo. So you have a consecutive story to follow. It's going to go into here, like, so for instance, here's how they're set up. The Witch's Fate, Chapter 1. The Tome of Time, set up 3 to 4 dungeon tiles. So the way I've designed these is it's supposed to be playable for anyone of any group size. So if you want to play the minimum hero number, minimum size, you can do 3 tiles. If you want to make it more challenging, you can do 4. If you want to play 5, 6 heroes, you can do 4. In this particular one, we're using Von Drack Manor tiles. If you don't have them, and I believe I say it's somewhere over here, substitute whatever you got. It doesn't matter. This is going to give you the most immersive experience, but it's not going to detract from the fun of the game. If you have to sub out, like, oh, I didn't get the Von Drack Manor, or I can't find them. All right, use Forgotten King tiles. Cool, not a big deal. I keep the descriptions generic because I want you to pick and play with whatever one you want. Because, listen, there's just certain tiles my group hates, and I'm not going to force people to use ones that they hate. So 2 should be outdoor tiles, 2 should be indoor tiles in this order. In later ones, you might have one that'll be like 1 Forgotten King, 1 Von Drack, like, it mix and match some sets, which is fun, so we can make up our own tiles. Yeah, so if you have your own custom tiles, you can use those too, whatever you want. I'm doing this based on what's existing in the existing collection, and the tiles that I'm going to offer in my set as a download if you ever want to get them printed. It tells you what spawn points to use, and the way I have designed these spawn points is that if you do 3 tiles, it's covered. If you use 4 tiles, a paired spawning point will not be in the 4th tile unless it's specifically a 4-tile dungeon. So, Tanchio Madushi is optional. If you're doing a 3 to 4 player, 3 to 4 hero run, you don't have to do the 4th tile. You don't have to do the 4th spawn point. You're good. Same with the mini bosses. You don't have to take Kappa with you. You can do just Shinigami, and then have the dungeon boss of Onryu, and you're good to go if you want to do the smaller run. Now, quest plot here is just draw a standard arcade plot from the deck, following normal rules for an arcade plot. This is basic. This is not the commonplace. There are a lot of custom plots that come here. For those who don't play arcade mode has plots when you defeat the first mini-boss that go into effect. Excuse me. Or, man, dinner is really making me burp tonight. Jesus. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, normal arcade plots will happen if the first mini boss is defeated, or if the Mighty Monster chart hits that point where it says, hey, draw the arcade plot. There are explore plots as well, yes. I don't know. Chris, I'm going to rely on you for that because this is designed around arcade, and I play arcade more than I play regular explore. So if they wind up being like the same thing, like just, let me know. So yeah, so a lot of these narrative dungeons will actually have special quests for the plot where, for instance, in one of them, you set a bunch of crystals down on the boards based on the dungeon exits, and the number of crystals you collect determines the level of Starfire that you fight. So you either fight Starfire if you collect more, King Starfire if you collect less. If you collect even less, you fight Horfang. Like, that's just how it works. It's tough. Quest goal. These are pretty much the same. Some have special things to it, like Chapter 3 of The Witch's Fate, you have to try and collect the book, and if you collect the Tome of Time from Beatrix, you do wind up getting better experience rewards than quest rewards. So most of these are pretty much just clear the dungeon. But there are certain story hooks that have special quest goals. And then the success. So here's a good example. Every hero that's on the board gets 5 experience. So that means whoever you bought, whoever your friends brought, if you brought too many... So, like, for instance, one night it was me, my friend Adam, my friend Pat. We did a 6-hero dungeon where we each brought 2 heroes. Each of those heroes got 5 experiences, not per player. Then the rewards after that go to the player and their guild as opposed to just per hero. So you're going to get 3 ruby crystals, 3 emerald, 3 citrine, 3 sapphire, and then 1 of each of the primers. That goes in your inventory for the town stay and everything, for crafting and purchasing things, plus whatever you earn from running the dungeon, plus whatever you disenchant of your equipment that's equipped at the end. So failure penalty, I explained this in the town stay and going on an adventure, where if you lose, your character goes back to town injured, and you have to spend a round in restoring a hero. But because this is the first narrative dungeon of the story, if they are your only hero, they start the next dungeon they are in with half health, rounded down, and 2 threat already on them. So you start at a disadvantage, nothing too difficult to overcome, but will have an impact on the game. That's the failure penalty for this one. And over here is the story intro. This is not Soda Pop approved yet. No, they've taken a peek at some stuff. I'm not messing with their IP, but I am giving life to some of their characters, so all the narrative will be kind of looked at by them to make sure that I'm not stepping on any toes or changing anything. So in this story, the chapter 1, it's basically Von Drack and Beatrix button heads, where Beatrix has come across Celeste and has seen her return, even though she was defeated like hundreds of years ago. And Von Drack is saying absolutely not, like, it's not real, it's a myth. I've seen all these interlopers rise to power, and yet I persevere through centuries because I'm an old wise vampire, So that's basically what's running down here, and he sends a crypt spider into town to post an adventure for that heroes can take. And in the next page, it just breaks down the heroes going to that and setting up the adventure. After this, it does give you, if successful, it gives you a whole other set of text to read as well to the group, where it basically talks about, in this particular chapter, this one you encounter the spirit, the garden of the Tome of Time, an old sensei of sorts, a samurai who protected the tome, and he basically tells you to go into the Dragonback Peaks, where Beatrix is trying to use the kobolds to take over the peaks and use the dwarven runes and blacksmithing ability to unlock the tome and break the magical seal on it. So it goes and goes and goes. It tells you the whole story. If you fail, you can always try again. There's no penalty for trying again. You can just... And once you get through the entire story, it leads you right up to the endgame raids, which is like the Elemental Temple of Joraguma, like I said, is the first one. And then from there, if you really liked any particular one, after you play them through in order once, I always say that you can always go back and put whatever one you want. Like, you can choose to run whatever one you want. You really can. I recommend doing the storyline first so you get the full story in order. After that, whatever you want to do. If you really enjoyed the one where you gotta try and race the crystals to prevent Horfang from spawning as opposed to King Starfire or Starfire, and you want to play that one again, by all means, pick that one again. It's a fun one to run. So that's kind of how that works with the narrative dungeons. That's that. That's the questing. Let's see, are there any other spoilers I want to throw out here? Town Stays Part 2, Guild System. Crafting, looking for group. Ooh, that's a good one. I'll open that one up. Because, so one of the hardest things about playing a game is scheduling time to play the game. And in a game where experience levels your characters, it's tough. Because you don't want to be left behind, like if you can't miss a session, and if you can't make a session or two. So looking for group is something that I add to the game, where basically you can place your minis here. Like, so I put Truthalion and Obor there because I'm silly. That your player group can bring your character with them on the adventure and control them for you as a group. And you can earn all the experience points and everything for doing the dungeon. And your heroes will still be able to level and gain experience even if you're not there. So obviously it's ideal that everyone gets together and plays. This whole point of this game is to get together and play as a group and have fun as friends. But there is an option for you to have your character still brought along and level and everything is necessary. You know what? Let's do some more spoilers. Here we go. So adventuring. Here you go. Here's some of the juicy bits. Dungeon difficulty based on hero level. It is based on the highest level character in your group. It is not up for debate. It is not, well, we have 6 level, it's not, we have 5 level 1s and 1 level 10. Guess what? You're running a level 10 dungeon. So these bonuses are cumulative. So at level 3, everyone gets +1 heart. I gotta fix that graphic. At hero level 5, everyone, all monsters, mini bosses, dungeon bosses, spawning points. So that means minions as well get +1 armor. All monsters, mini bosses, dungeon bosses get +1 strength. This is before the Mighty Monster Chart bonuses. This is before any bonuses. This is you walking into the dungeon, and this is what they have as a raw bonus. So by the time you hit level 10, all non-minion monsters are going to have +1 heart. All monsters are going to have +2 armor, +2 strength, and +1 action. That's out of the gate. So that is before the Mighty Monster Chart bonuses. So essentially, by the end of a dungeon, you're looking at a basic bonus of +3 armor, +3 strength on all monsters. The +1 heart to all elites is brutal, man. It is. It seems like not a lot, but it is. And then once you start combining it with higher armor, higher strength, because the big thing about the higher armor that people don't seem to grab right away, and I don't say that insultingly, is in order to crit, you have to do it's 5 or more stars, and I think it's either, I have to double check, but I think you have to more than double the defense roll. So now, where you're relying on those critical successes, so if a guy's base armor, so let's take a mini boss for example, he's base armor 4. Now he's base armor 7, which means if you're not rolling a 14, well, I'll just keep it generic, Chris, because I'm not positive. I have to double check the rules. But that means you need to roll at least a 14 or a 15 to do a critical wound. You need 15 stars to roll a critical wound at level 10. Like, that is a lot of stars to have to try and get in order to do a critical. So you're not critting as much. They have more health. They have more armor. They have more strength. So the battles become less peak and valley and more of a consistent. You want to just keep doing 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage, and stop trying to consistently go for a crit, you know? So using a weapon like that Hunter Spear, yeah, it's good, but you want to roll an improved crit? Cool. You need to roll over a 15. In the raids, girl, you got to roll over like a 20 in some spots. Against the boss, who knows? You know what I'm saying? So it all really adds up. But But this is basically your enemy leveling chart based on your hero, highest level hero in the dungeon. So that's a really big spoiler there for you guys. Everyone's been asking Mega Dungeons. It talks about you can bring 7 to 8 dungeon heroes in a Mega Dungeon. See what other spoilers can I bring? Town stay? Guild. You know what? I'll pull up the guild system quick because people have questions about that too. So you can create a guild. Obviously, if you do the opening quest, you get it for free. Guild leveling and benefits. So guild camp, you can have up to 2 unique characters in your guild at level 1. You get a guild access to the guild bank. At level 2, guild housing, have up to 3 unique characters, guild bank. Level 3, have up to 4, and you still have, so when it says guild bank, just so you know, on the guild charter sheet, it does show you how much space you have per level of your guild. So you're getting more storage as you level as well. Level 4, now you can have up to 5 unique characters, the guild bank, and the guild blacksmith, which lets you craft some special unique items. Level 5, guild blacksmith, guild quest giver. So now you can double up on quests of any particular one. So like for instance, if you're essence questing and you need essence of fire and essence of ice, you can quest for both those at the same time now, as opposed to just being only able to take one. At level 6, this is the toughest one to get because I believe you have to. Where is it? Guild leveling. Yeah. Have all your extra. Yeah, so it's expensive. You have to have all your extra hero slots filled. It gives you the crystal miners, which means that if you're equipped with Chibi Bound, you get credit for disenchanting those items as though you did, but you don't have to destroy the item and you can keep wearing it. The guild raid banner is a big feature. It's little buff, but significant when you're in the raids because if you run with 4 different people, you can raise 4 flags to get +1 blue die in every staff for every hero on the board. That's just an innate bonus for everybody. So it's good. It is more than double. Okay, Chris, I thought so. Because I kept confusing it for the longest time. Like, did you need more than 5 or did you need more than double? Yeah. So Chris is talking about criticals. He confirmed for me it is you have to have more than double the defense roll or defense stat. So you get all these benefits from the guild system. And eventually you're going to wind up having 10 unique characters in your guild charter. Let's see, is there anything else that is currently done? And again, we're at about 70 pages completed so far, and we're just getting into the narrative dungeons of the reformat, and at least 5 stars. Yeah, that's what I thought. 5 or more stars, more than double the defense roll. So I'm going to go into this quick because it's a very optional rule to use. And the reason it's optional here is the auction house. As I have seen with multiple video games, especially Diablo 3 when it launched, the auction house is disgusting in a public setting. So if you plan on running this in a group, like in a store, or with a group of new players, people that you maybe aren't necessarily friends with, this might be an entire chapter that you just, no thanks. It's where you can sell items. So for instance, let's just say I have like a ton of red primers that I want to sell, right? I can list them in the auction house. That's my base price. My immediate purchase price is this. Bid length is that. If you're in a group of friends, like for instance, my main group is my best friend from 2nd grade, my best friend from high school, a very close friend from high school, and my dad, we're good with using this because no one's going to price gouge. But in a public setting, man, someone might get some of those rare essences or something that they're really trying to get. It is disgusting. And it's not good for the morale of the group. So doing a public thing, I would suggest leaving this out. This is a very optional rule. And as a matter of fact, the first sentence is, the auction house is an optional rule. So that's a big one to really share and just say, hey, look, this is here if we want it. We can give it a go, but if it's no good, it's no good. What is this part of adventuring? I think I had that up before. Oh, no. Okay. All right, so this talks about what you do before and after an adventure. If you succeed, if you fail. And again, this is like 70 plus pages done. What's a good one here? I think that's good. You know what? We're going to go to crafting recipes, page 1, because I want to show you guys something. So you guys saw how the end game crafting looks like. That's not the right one. I'm a dope. So I need crafting page 2. File open. Let's see, crafting page 2. Here we go. This should have the bare bones ones. Yeah, perfect. Ooh, even better. So here you go, Chris. Screenshot this and share it with the world if you want. Essence questing. Again, essence questing is explained in the questing section. I have taken every single spawn point, mini boss, and dungeon boss in the game and broken them down into the essence questing list of the essence that they will drop. So again, you're going to need to read the questing section for essence questing for this to really mean something significant to you. But this covers everything in terms of who drops what. Now, I do put a designer's note in the bottom right that says, these are based on the current releases. If anything is missing or something should come out after this release, use your judgment to assign an essence to any missing item from these lists. Should an expansion to the Plague Throne or further content release for Super Dungeon, an updated list will be included in the next book based on those releases. Now that's a very, very, very important statement that I'll get to in a second. So here you go. Here's your basic bare bones. It only adds a blue dice of whatever it is to you based on the slot. Minimal things required to craft it. Anyone can craft it at any level. Simple stuff, easy peasy. I am fixing this so for like instance on this artwork, this blue line won't be there. Again, this is work in progress stuff, little tweaks that I've made as I've gone along. I have to go back and do on the rest of them. You know, simple things like that. But for the record, this is actual official Super Dungeon artwork right here. This is taken from their cards. I was fortunate enough to get access to that artwork, and it's going here, and I'm very excited about it. So yeah, so these icons down here tell you, what it really focuses on. That's explained somewhere else. But again, Chris, this is the Essence questing list. If you want to screenshot that, I don't know if you do. It just basically shows off, what drops what. Like Essence of Shadow, things that you would easily expect, like the Nether Clutch, Cursed Knight, Cursed Hollow, Maleficent Idol. That's going to drop Essence of Shadow. Beatrix, I put it in your channel for God, you are beautiful, Chris. Again, this is just some of the basic stuff here for crafting. Let's see, I want to see if there's anything else I really want to share while we're here. Because again, this is all going to be free for download, so keeping it all wrapped under a tight lid. I don't want to ruin everything, so let's do file, new, letter, perfect, create. So something I want to show off here, if I can. So there's a lot to this book, and I think when it's all said and done, we might be looking at close to 200 pages with the reformat, including of the cards in the book, maybe 250 plus. Again, I had it formatted and broken down page by page specifically for the printer I was using. Unfortunately, because that factory is in China and I'm now using a US-based manufacturer, the margins are different just enough that I can't just bloop and redrop it. I have to reformat everything. It's such a pain in the booty. But it's working and it's happening, so it is what it is. Where am I? WOSDEC. Cover art. Let's see. Yep. So something I do want to... That doesn't look right. Is that right? Something I do kind of want to spoil here, if I may, is if everything goes well with this rule set and it becomes popular enough and enough people like it, there is artwork ready for an expansion. I shared this to a few select people, but hell, let's make it public, right? So basically, we're working on the Plague Throne right now, which is basically heavily located in Glower Doom Moor and the undead and stuff like that. So thank you, Chris. I don't know if his official name is going to be the Cog King yet. It might change, but you can tell he is sitting on a throne made from cogs and steampunk things. And he himself is very steampunk in his design. Very similar to things you might find in Clockwork Cove. So, if all goes well with WOSDEC and the Plague Throne, WOSDEC 2.0, the Cog Throne, or the Clockwork Throne, however we decide to do it, or the Steam Throne, I don't know. It doesn't have an official name yet. My plan is to take everything from this book and expand on it, add more raids, more narrative dungeons, more crafting items, more original items, more heroes, eventually maybe more unique spawn points that aren't from existing things, new models, whatever. But this has to really take off and be successful in order for it to happen. But now I thought this might be cool to share that if things do go well, voila, we could possibly have a WOSDEC 2.0. Which, again, would just expand on everything that's there, raise the level cap, exactly what you'd expect from an MMO experience. So that's what this is about. I'm very excited about it. It's, he himself would get, or it really, because it doesn't have a gender. It is just a thing made of gears. Ooh, the Gear King, maybe. I kind of like that. Clockwork King. Ooh. Clockwork King. I like that a lot, Chris. I might steal that from you and send you a free mini as payment. He will get his own miniature and everything. No third edition, Chris. It's going to be 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, because I do have 5 thrones created on paper. I actually did the artwork for the second one or got the artwork done for the second one. So it's there, and if it seems like we're going to get enough of positive response, this will be how the first book ends with this image. So, that's it. That's all your spoilers for tonight. Again, things are going way ahead of schedule right now. I was talking about it with Chris before in Discord. Yeah, no, I hear you, dude. Chris just said he's still salty about the 1.0 Forgotten King 2.0 naming. No, we're going to just 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 and just keep going. And it's not going to rewrite the rules. It's just going to expand on the rules, raise level caps, introduce new things. And I got to see what that balance is going to look like as we grow, if it grows. But I got to say, everyone who I've shown this to has had a blast with it, so I'm very hopeful that it's well received. Again, it's a very scorned and burned community, and I understand why. I think at this point, if I have to explain to everybody one more time that I am not Soda Pop and I am not Ninja Division, you're just ostriching at this point, and your head's in the ground. Everything I've shown everybody, even the creators. So, again, open. I'm absolutely transparent. Obviously, to make this happen, I needed permission from the creators of Super Dungeon. I've had a couple of teams meetings with them where I've showed them some of the stuff I'm working on, and they've gotten excited about it. They're like, dude, that's awesome. Or dude, that's so cool, I wish I could work on that. Things like that. And that makes me feel really good. Because the guys who created a game that I'm so in love with and so fond of, the fact that those guys who made the game see what I'm doing with it and get excited about their own game through my eyes and my rule system, that makes me really happy. And again, so Chris just said, I just wish we had a stronger community. I think this might be one of the first steps towards it. I think what Iella13 and P-Doink are doing on the Discord with their RPG version, there's a lot of people out there who are trying to rebuild it. I think this, and not in a conceited way, is I think this is going to be a first major stepping stone of getting that community back on track. Not because I'm doing anything better than anyone else. It's just going to offer so much content that people are going to be able to bust out their collections multiple times to the point that they could play it regularly, like every Thursday get together and play and level characters and go on adventures and do this. There's world events I haven't even explained yet where the Temporal Caverns, you get to go back in time and fight through certain events that also tell Celeste's story in the past of how she was defeated, how You have to help save her when she was a little girl, which is the prologue of the whole story. And that's, you got 4 narrative dungeons in there in addition to the 18 that you already have that are just the general story. There's factions. So when you clear all the narrative dungeons in the Temporal Caverns, you unlock the Timekeeper. The Timekeeper Guild allows you to buy specific Timekeeper items, such as, you know what? Let's drop one of them. Let's do one more spoiler, I guess, for tonight. Vendor items? Yep, Time Vendor. Nope, that's not it. Oh boy. Alright, we're a little lost right now. I don't know what the frick happened here. What's the point? Will they be? Oh, there it is. Temporal Caverns. Got it. Alright, Chris, what do you want to see? Shield, daggers, axe, staff, bow. What do you want to see? I'll show one of them. You let me know. So you're going to be able to purchase these items from the Temporal Caverns. Shield. Perfect. Here is your time shield. Bam. It's going to be an item. I'm not really saying any stats, there's just the artwork for it, that you're going to be able to buy and put this in your guild bank, and you can equip it to a character. It's going to be like a mid-level one that's going to allow you to, at the end of a dungeon, instead of disenchanting it, just remove it and put it back in your guild bank, and things like that. It's going to be, but you have to clear the Temporal Caverns in order to get access to the shield. And it's going to have like a cool ability to it. That I'm not going to reveal yet, because I do want some things to be a surprise when you get the book. There's a lot of content in this book, and I think that's one of the things that might help really bring back the community, is that fact that this rule expansion really allows you to play not just bring your collection out again, it allows you to play your collection over and over and over and over again. Like, there's lots of things to do. And I think that that's what the game needs right now in order to bring the community back a bit, is, like, people doing like, oh, do this adventure, it's got 3 little chapters in it, cool, like, all that stuff is awesome, and I've seen what a lot of the community is putting out, and it's great stuff. This is going to allow you to play the game, essentially, depending how often you play, you can play this for over a year easy, to get to the end game raids. Raid days are super fun. I streamed a little bit of it last year, but we did a playtest of the Elemental Temple of Joragumo, where we did the boss fight and everything, and we did 2 wings of it. We had so much fun, where basically we started early in the morning, ran through 1 wing, took a break, I barbecued, we ate, we had a few drinks, we laughed, we joked around, we played through the 2nd wing. We took a break. We ate the rest of the barbecue that I had prepared. Like, I had ribs sitting out all day, stuff like that. You sit down, you enjoy each other's company, you enjoy each other's friendship. Then we went back downstairs with dessert and some more drinks, and we did the dungeon boss fight, because we didn't have time to do a 3rd wing. Because we were really just joking around and taking way too long. So the raid wings do take a little bit of time, but they're not grotesque. We made them grotesque because we just sat there and enjoyed each other's company as friends, because that's what we do. And it was really cool, because we were all just playing, having a great time. That we did the boss fight, and I will tell you, I had an Instagram influencer come through, the Red Hair Inn, who I met online. We met at a couple of conventions, and I said, hey man, like, I'm going to do this, you want to come through and try it out? He legit lost his mind and still messages me to this day, hey dude, when are we going to do another WOSDEC day? When can I come to another WOSDEC day? He lives in another state, okay? He came through and wants to drive another state again across state lines to come back and play the game. And that to me was a sign that, like, this is really, like, I feel like this is what the community needs. Like, they need to have it where that passion and love is back for the game. And then hopefully the community can rebuild. It's not just me. I'm not saying that I'm the answer to it. I'm not saying that this is that. I'm just saying I feel like this, combined with what everyone else is doing, is going to put life in everyone's collections again. It's going to put these minis back on the table. And So, for instance, you might do what Ayala 13 is doing, and you might play that RPG and go, oh man, this is awesome. What do I do while I wait for the next chapter? You know what? Let me do WOSDEC for a bit and build up those characters and do that player style and those rules. And then you go, okay, all right, Ayala 13 came out with the next chapter. Okay, cool, I'm going to go back and continue that story. Like, between the community and everything that's going on now, plus this book, I think we're really, 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 really going to have a lot of content out there that people are going to love. So that's all. That's where it's at today. Again, we're at 70 plus pages converted at this point. Full disclosure, I am taking this opportunity to just tweak a couple of things, especially in the narrative dungeons where, like, the story was fine the way it was, but now that I have the time to kind of tweak it, I'm reworking some things, like the story that I just showed you with the Witch's Fate. It was very, very brief. Now I'm doing it where there's like a little bit more of that text, just to kind of really flush out the story a little more. They have they have 3 chapters currently, right? So you play chapter 1, you play chapter 2, you play chapter 3, and they say, hey guys, we'll get chapter 4 to you in the next 2 months. Oh man, I really want to play again. Well, now, while you wait for chapter 4, you come do the WOSDEC style, or you combine them, like whatever you want to do, Like I said, there's a lot of people doing a lot of different game styles with the existing collections. My goal for this is to have it take off and be successful enough that I can go to these guys and say, look, WOSDEC is accepted, people love it, they want to see more from it, and hopefully through that success, bring the ability for me to make more spawn points, more dungeon bosses, more mini bosses, more tiles specifically for WOSDEC and generated for the WOSDEC audience. Things like that I want to be able to turn to make official products, not Super Dungeon or Soda Pop official, like WOSDEC official products. So, for instance, like the Plague Throne miniature line is coming out, and it is specifically the Plague Throne miniature line, which has me 2 things. Beyond grateful that they're letting me do that, because I was concerned that they weren't going to let me do that when it failed again on the crowdfund. But they were super rad, and they're like, hey man, like, you put so much effort into this, please release it as the Plague Throne. Don't release it as Soda Pop, don't release it as Super Dungeon. It's the Plague Throne miniature line, and that's how I'm running it. Super grateful to them. Please, please, please do not be mad at these guys for saying, like, I gotta release it as the Plague Throne miniature line, because we're all winning from that. We're all winning from that, because now if you want to add some heroes, add some mini bosses, add some dungeon bosses, have these raid bosses that I've created, you can now actually get those miniatures. The rules will be in the book. The book is a PDF, or you can get it printed if you want. But you can now bring those miniatures to the table, and to me, that's a win. No matter how you look at it, that's a win. So, please don't be upset at these guys. I think that's a very fair thing to do. I'm super stoked that they're letting me do that. And the second thing, wait, was that one? The first thing is, I'm very grateful. Number 2, I'm really excited because to me that says if the Plague Throne is successful enough, it means, exactly, Chris, it's a disassociation, it's a good legal business move, exactly. So now it's my thing, not their thing, and they're not pressuring me, they're not associated with it. And again, all my work is Super Dungeon adjacent. You've seen the artwork, you've seen the minis on the pages. It's not an exact replica, it's in the same vein, but it's still different. Different enough, I say. It's not, like you can see in the bottom left corner of the stream, where it says the Plague Throne, you can see the artwork is like my version of Chibi. It's not their version of Chibi. And if they do it right, they'll let WOSDEC grow as a branch in the Super Dungeon World tree. So I don't even want that from them. I just want them to let me do my thing. Because my stories are supposed to be like, they take place in the world, but not really official canon, and that's fine. Like, I prefer that, because then WOSDEC's official canon is WOSDEC's official canon. And Super Dungeon stays separate, so they do what they want with their story, I do what I want with my story, and never the twain shall meet, so to speak. Other than the fact that I'm using their setting. So the fact that the Plague Throne miniature line can exist gives me hope that the Clockwork line could exist. The Clockwork Throne line can exist, where we might have more steampunk-inspired things in terms of enemies, bosses. Obviously, a raid boss is going to be this guy, and this guy's going to be freaking big. He's going to be big. He's not going to be a 2x2 base. He's going to be minimum 3x3 base. He's going to be epic. He's going to be large. He's going to have a lot of detail. So you can paint him up real nice, but he's still going to be chibi. It's, there's a lot going on that I'm really excited to do with it, and it all hinges on this being, received well. And if it's received well enough, if it's received well enough, my plan is to, again, go to them and say, look, this was received well. I want to do more with it. What do you guys think? And like I said, they've been super rad, super cool, and I'm super appreciative. They've pretty much co-signed everything I've wanted to do. So the goal is bring it to them, have them approve an expansion, and we'll go from there. But that's all the spoilers for tonight. I said that before, but then I got sidetracked by Chris. Thanks, Chris. Thank you again, everybody, for stopping in. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening to my rants. If anyone's got any major questions, throw them out now while I'm wrapping up, and I'll answer them. Borks, or Dudette, or whatever you consider yourself, thank you for joining. Super appreciative for first time coming in. I hope that this gets you excited for it, and you can see that obviously all the progress is happening. Chris, always appreciate you stopping in, dude. Like, major love for you for that. You're always here supporting me and listening and asking the questions. Borks, do you got any questions that you specifically want answered while I'm wrapping up here? If there's something you think of, just send it into the chat. But yeah, I'm super excited. Thanks everybody for stopping in. It's a labor of love project at this point, and I am working on it as I can. It's going very well. I was talking to Chris about before. I'm about 2 months ahead of schedule right now. So I'm hoping that by August it'll get out as opposed to November, which I was originally forecasting. But I'm thinking July, August is going to be really my revision time based on the way the current projected things are going. And then again, I'm officiating my sister's wedding in the end of August, so that's going to put a little damper on things. So I'm thinking really September might be a realistic time frame that we could actually see this put out there with the miniature line side by side with it. So, yeah. So again, thank you everyone for stopping by. This was super fun. Thanks for everybody chatting and listening to me and all my rants and side stories. And we'll do another one of these soon enough. Again, 70 plus pages. Maybe I'll do another 30 pages and I'll share some more sneak peeks with everybody. All right. Thanks and have a good night, everyone. Again, lastly, if you enjoy painting miniatures, I'm not even joking. It's not because they're paying me or anything. Chimera Paints through Dracoya.com. I am the most happy I've been with these paints. I'm in the middle of painting this fancy big lady right here. And I have to say, it's the best paint I've ever used. They're single pigment paints. They don't separate into 3 colors over time. They are excellent, excellent paints. Dracoya.com, code ONLYDREWS10 if you want 10% off your order. Again, we're going to do some limited edition stuff with them at Long Island Tabletop. And Long Island Tabletop is going to be the home of whatever we decide to name the Hero League. All right? Have a good night, everybody. Stay safe. And as always, thanks for coming through. Love you all.